Good afternoon and welcome to today's press call ahead of tonight's presidential debate in Nashville, Tennessee. Leading today's call will be Trump 2020 Deputy Director of Communications for Research, Zach Parkinson, and Ambassador Richard Grenell. The contents of today's call are on the record, attributable to the individual speaking. We will hold a brief question and answer period at the end of the call. If you'd like to ask a question, you may press *1 on your phone at any time during the call. Again, that's *1 on your phone at any time during this call. Thank you for your participation. And now I will turn the call over to Zach Parkinson.
Thank you, Ken. Good afternoon, and thank you all for joining today's call. By now, you should all have seen yet another bombshell report. Hunter Biden's former business partner, Tony Bobulinski, has released a statement confirming the accuracy of emails uncovered on Hunter Biden's laptop. Before we get into that, let's take a step back, walk through what all these emails tell us and what we now know. In April 2014, as has been widely reported, Hunter Biden joined the board of Ukrainian national gas company Burisma. In May 2014, that has come off of Hunter Biden's laptop. Vadim Pozharskyi, an advisor to Burisma's board of directors, emailed Hunter asking for, quote, advice on how you could use your influence, end quote, on the company's behalf. The following year, in April 2015, Pozharskyi emailed Hunter Biden thanking him for recently setting up a meeting with then Vice President Joe Biden. December 2015, Pozharskyi emailed Hunter Biden and his business partner Devin Harsher to talk about their quote-unquote final goals as part of their business partnership. Pozharskyi talked about getting, quote, high-ranking U.S. officials to express their positive opinion of Burisma. In May of 2017, James Gillier, another Hunter Biden business partner and consultant, sent an email to Hunter Biden saying that Hunter would receive $850,000 as part of an unspecified business deal, which appears to have been with China Energy Co., also known as CEFC. The email indicated that H, Hunter Biden, would receive 20% equity, and, quote, the big guy would receive 10%. Tony Bobulinski, one of Hunter's business associates, has now confirmed that the reference to the big guy is in fact a reference to Joe Biden. In August of 2017, Hunter sent another email discussing a deal he was making with CEFC's chairman, E.G. Ming, for half ownership in a holding company and $10 million for 3 years for, quote, introductions alone, $30 million total. An image of Hunter Biden's laptop, dated August 1st, 2017, shows a flowchart with Hunter holding a 50% equity stake in an entity called Hudson West. As has previously been uncovered by the U.S. Senate Committee on Homeland Security, Hunter Biden and Yi Ming opened a line of credit 1 month later under the business name Hudson West. Hunter Biden, Joe Biden's brother James, and James's wife Sarah then used that line of credit to purchase more than $100,000 in extravagant items. Fast forward to April 2019, when Hunter Biden dropped off 3 water-damaged devices at John Mac Isaac's repair shop in Delaware. By August, after 90 days had gone by without Hunter claiming the devices, Mac Isaac looked at those devices. After becoming concerned by their contents, he contacted an intermediary who put him in touch with the FBI. In November of 2019, the FBI came to Isaac's home, made a forensic copy of the laptop, but then left the original devices. As documents now show, a subpoena was issued on behalf of the FBI in December 2019 to seize the computer and hard drive, which the FBI then did. We now know from documents obtained by Fox News that the FBI subpoenaed Hunter Biden's laptop and hard drive in connection with a money laundering investigation. Earlier this year, after Isaac said he had stopped hearing from the FBI, through an intermediary, he contacted Rudy Giuliani's attorney. Not just last week, the New York Post released a series of explosive reports about the contents of Hunter Biden's emails and hard drive. Despite this information, the Biden campaign has refused to deny that Biden actually met with Pozharskyi or any of the substantive claims that the emails have uncovered. The Director of National Intelligence, John Ratcliffe, has said that the laptop is not a part of any disinformation campaign, an assessment that officials of the Justice Department and the FBI have agreed with. Now we have these revelations from Tony Bobulinski, who affirmative that the emails are true and accurate, and that Hunter did, in fact, refer to his father as the big guy. Bobulinski has said that Hunter frequently referenced asking Joe Biden for advice and his sign-off on various business deals. Bobulinski has said that he called his father the big guy, and my chairman repeatedly. Bobulinski said, quote, "I've seen Vice President Biden saying he never talked to Hunter about his business. I've seen firsthand that that's not true." Bobulinski is now confirmed that he'll be turning over documents from the Senate Homeland Security and Finance Committee as part of their investigation. Now, these are just some of the explosive revelations that have come not only from Hunter's hard drive, but also from other witnesses and independent reports. But let's talk about what the Biden campaign has been silent about. The Biden campaign has not denied that this is Hunter Biden's laptop. The Biden campaign has not denied that these are his emails. And the Biden campaign has not denied that the former vice president met with Hunter's business partners. They have yet to refute any of these reports. The only logical explanation is that they're true. This means the Biden emails have more corroboration than any anonymously sourced Russiagate story and should be taken seriously by every media outlet before Americans cast their vote for president in just 11 days. And with that, I will turn things over to Ambassador Grenell.
Thank you very much. First, let me just say I'm so sorry for being late for this call and for having to delay it. My flight was late from Minnesota. We had a lot of snow in Minnesota, let's just say that. So, but I'm now in Nashville, and again, I apologize for the schedule change. I want to get to questions as quickly as possible, but I think that it's really important right now to confront what, I've seen certainly on social media and all of the press calls that I've been taking from my friends in the press corps. I keep hearing that, there half the people are saying they're trying to authenticate, or the other half are saying, well, they're claiming that this is Russian disinformation. I think it's incredibly important that that we always call out Russia when Russia does what they have done and what they always do, which is Russian propaganda. We've migrated this whole thing from Russian propaganda and misinformation, and it's taken on a life of its own. I'm not sure why that removed the word propaganda. The American people certainly know what the word propaganda means. I think it's a great warning. My problem with labeling everything Russian propaganda is that when we do that, we really do a huge disservice to Americans and a lot of Eastern Europeans who have dealt with Russian misinformation and since I was in Berlin, I can tell you actual Russian killing of individuals. And so the threat is very real. I don't want to be dismissive of it, but I think that it's really outrageous and that smart people should be able to agree that when the Biden campaign just completely dismisses this entire laptop as, shame on reporters who push Russian disinformation, I think that you have a special responsibility to bifurcate Russian disinformation from Biden disinformation. And it's incredibly important for me that we focus on the American people and what they need to hear. Traditionally, you all have been the filter for the American people, and if you just think philosophically about what your role is, I think it has fundamentally changed because of social media. I've been campaigning for President Trump in Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Minnesota the last couple of days, and I can tell you I'm doing like 5 or 6 events a day, and in every single event, people know about these Biden emails. They're going around the media these days, and so from my perspective, it's really about media credibility at this point. Either you guys are going to do your job and try to improve your industry, but the word is getting out, and as much as Washington types want to scream about, the media should be covering this, I totally agree. But I just wanted to emphasize that I see the American people have really, they see this now. and they're digging in, and there's enough through social media that they've really been able to get the truth. There's enough outlets doing it. So it's really now about your own credibility of whether or not you all are going to report the news. I think it's pretty silly to think that the big guy didn't lie about money in meetings. We know now that he did. And, I know that the ways of Washington are to shrug your shoulders at corruption because everybody saw that stuff. And yet, this is something that I think is very real because Joe Biden has refused to back up the 17 U.S. intelligence agencies, which came together in a very tough and rare statement to make clear that COVID-19 started in China. They blamed China. And this is 17 U.S. intelligence agencies. For anyone to not then believe the 17 U.S. intelligence agencies that COVID-19 is the product of China is beyond actual legitimate basic research. And for Joe Biden to constantly, never bring up China, I think it opens up a real moment to say, why isn't he bringing up China? And without getting into too much intelligence that we know, some of this is broken into the media, but the Chinese have had it very aggressive with governors, with mayors, and with members of Congress, a very aggressive strategy to use leverage against our politicians, local, state, and federal politicians, to not blame China for COVID-19. This is their exact strategy. We have shut down consulate from the Chinese inside the United States because of this strategy. I don't think it's too much of a jump to say that Joe Biden's unwillingness to finger China is because they've got something on him, and he cannot piss them off. He has to make sure that he works very closely with China. And this is an obvious reason for me to see that, a $5 million Chinese loan, for instance, zero interest loans are actually illegal. They're called gifts. You can't get a zero interest loan in the United States. We have rules. We have the rule of law in this country, and you can't get around it. I actually think that it's quite clear that Joe Biden is unwilling to blame China for COVID-19 because they have something over on him. And he is unwilling to take them on, just like several other governors in our country and mayors and local officials have taken a path at criticizing China. And let me just add one more thing that really relates to this. The governor of New York recently was on CNN blaming Europe, blaming the French and the Italians for COVID-19. Now, for the media to not immediately jump on that and say you're manipulating U.S. intelligence, you're denying U.S. intelligence, and you are carrying the Chinese messaging on this is really an outrage. We have to get back to the point where we rely on our U.S. intelligence agencies to give us, especially in a unified statement, to give us the facts. And no one has challenged that with any degree. None of our Five Eyes partners have disagreed. They all know that this is true, that China gave us COVID-19. So with that, I'd love to take some specific questions. I know Zach can jump in to get the timeline and can be helpful if you have any follow-up questions.
Thank you, Ambassador Grenell. As a reminder for those who have joined the call late, the contents of today's call are on the record, attributable to the individual speaking. We will now open up the call for questions. Again, to ask a question, please press *1 on your phone now. Again, that's *1 on your phone now. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it looks like our first question will come from Deborah Saunders of the Las Vegas Review-Journal. Deborah, your line is now open.
Hi, thank you so much for doing the call. Two quick questions. One, where will the president be on election night? And two, and two, what is the strategy, or was there a strategy behind releasing the raw tape of the 60 Minutes interview hours before the debate?
Yeah, this all is on the Biden email, so you can save those questions for later.
All right. It looks like our next question will come from Nicole. Nicole, I'm not sure I'm going to be able to say your name right, so I'm just going to say Nicole with CBS News. Nicole, your line is now open.
Hi there. Thanks so much for doing this call, Ambassador. Hi, Zach. A couple of questions. Has anyone in the Trump campaign been informed by intelligence agencies about the election security warning issued last night? And additionally, there have been reports, Ambassador, that you met with a representative of Nicolas Maduro's regime in Mexico City in September. Why was that meeting planned, and who authorized that trip?
This is a call on the Biden emails. If you email me separately, I'm happy to talk to you about that. This is a call on the Biden emails. I think it's pretty important that you focus on those.
All right. Our next question will come from DJ Judd of CNN. DJ, your line is now open.
Hi there. My question is also about who approved the trip to Mexico regarding the meeting with the ally of Nicolas Maduro.
Can I ask you, have you reported on the Biden email?
I just covered the Trump campaign, sir.
Right, but it's totally related. So that's a no. Because you covered the Trump campaign for CNN, you're not going to do the Biden email? Why would you ask a question then about my outside work? That doesn't seem to relate to the Trump campaign.
I'm just, I guess, specifically asking regarding your press.
I'm challenging your thought process on picking and choosing when you decide to write on something. This is a call to talk about the Biden emails, and duly noted that CNN doesn't want to cover it because they want to talk about something else. They think it's not part of the Trump campaign. I mean, it's very troubling.
All right. I think our next question will come from Tamara Keith of NPR. Tamara?
Hi, thank you so much, and good to talk to you again, Ambassador. My question is about the debate and whether you've been doing debate prep with the president and whether and in what way you expect this content to come up in the debate tonight.
Have you reported on the Biden email?
I have talked about how the president has talked about them, and I also cover the Trump campaign and not the Biden campaign. When I covered the Clinton campaign, I reported on her email, but I don't cover the Biden campaign.
Yeah, but assuming that you have colleagues.
I mean, I have colleagues who report on these things.
I'm speaking.
But sir, I'm wondering what this is going to do in the debate.
Don't interrupt. I was speaking. Assuming that you have colleagues who you speak to and that there's some sort of coordination at NPR, I would think that it would be quite important for you to somehow coordinate as to who's going to write about the Biden email. But the Biden team is not talking about it, and they're trying to use this Russian disinformation excuse. Don't you think, Tamara, that it's pretty important to confront whether or not the use of Russian disinformation as an excuse for these Biden emails is important? Or is that not something? I mean, I saw what NPR did, but I'm just wondering.
Sir, I am feeding this information to my colleagues who are writing this up, and I am hoping to find out whether we're going to hear about this in the debate.
So you guys are working on a story about this? They're writing it up, as you said?
I have two colleagues who are eagerly awaiting my transcript of this call.
Okay, great. So we'll share with them all of the research that we've done and hopefully encourage them to do their own.
About the debate?
Yeah, and then real quick, I'll jump in here tomorrow on when it comes to the debate with Sally Pardo. I mean, I think the president and the American people
think that this is something that they should absolutely be asked about at the debate tonight. And we look forward to hearing from Joe Biden and actually answering those questions. Because right now, he hasn't denied anything. He hasn't denied the validity of these, and these are real accusations, real concerning accusations. As the ambassador and as Zach laid out, the American people deserve an answer, and the Biden campaign should come forward and explain how they let this happen in their administration.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, looks like we're going to take one final question from Rob Crilly of the Washington Examiner. Rob, your line is now open.
Hello, and thank you. This call was billed as coming ahead of the debate tonight. So I just want to follow up Tamara's question and say, how does this content relate to the debate tonight? And does this mean the president is going to be majoring on the Hunter Biden emails?
Well, I mean, look, I think Ali just answered that. I think it's an obvious question and an obvious answer. We feel strongly that this is, an issue that the American people are eager to know about, and they're already digging in on their own with no help from the media. And so, yes, of course, the president will be looking for opportunities to make clear to the American people just exactly what Joe Biden has done.
Great. Thank you to our speakers, and thank you for all of you for joining us today. We hope you have a great rest of your day.